yɛne Mr. Ken Ashigbey ending komo oye openia oda Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications ano yɛne no ending komo na pay na yɛmbisa no ensem baako menu bi opani yɛma akwa ba eba dwumadi ni so.
Good morning.
Na mbom disa no pay ja.
God is blessing me. I'm very good. And I hope you're also good as well.
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. So,
good morning to your listeners.
All right. So this extension of the SIM card registration exercise, does it come to you as a surprise, sir?
No, it's not. It's, there's been constant engagement between the operators and the NCA at the technical committee level, and then periodically the engagements with the ministry as well, and discussing the project in terms of all the issues that are surrounding it, and also so feedback in terms of the numbers that are being done are constantly shared with the regulator and also periodically with the ministry. And all the improvements and the resolutions to the challenges that bedevil the process from the start is being because of this engagement that have been going on. So in terms of the engagement, we knew this was imminent because the condition precedent is that you needed a Ghana card to be able to do the registration. So even if you improved the app, you increased the number of touch points where you could do this registration, and still the people who did not have the Ghana card, the intention of the ministry was very clear from the beginning. They wanted every Ghanaian who had a SIM card to be able to register. So the ministry was not going to, make Ghanaians who did not have the Ghana card not also have a SIM card. So it's something that we're expecting, was part of the process.
Is 31st of July enough time for the rest of Ghanaians who have not been able to register?
Well, it's the two things that are happening. If you look at the data, you could see that the average speed at which we're registering, if you take the daily, weekly, is being improving, and the processes, the awareness that has been created has also improved. Initially, you had Ghanaians walk to the centers, not having done the Star 404, and so then the processes was long. So the app, took forever to be able to do the verification, but all of that has improved. So, and that keeps on improving. And if you look at the statement that the minister gave, there's also the talk about the self-service that is also coming. That would also improve the processes. We know also that the NIA themselves have also been improving their processes and increasing the district offices. They also have even some temporal locations that they also are adding on to be able to make this process happen. And before you came to me, you were talking about why was the NCA not listening to you, but you don't also know whether there's been some engagement, and I also do not have that for a fact. But I would not, rule that out, that there's been some engagement between, the state actors, and it's possible that all of them have been factored into. And it's not 3 months, it's 4 months, because now you have the whole of April, the whole of May, the whole of June, and the whole of July, for the exercise. And I think that the reason why this processes ought to be time bound is that there's a particular challenge we are trying to solve. The challenge has always been the fact that because you did not have a robust database by which you are building your SIM database as well. People were using fake IDs, people were doing pre-registered SIMs and all of that. And so that's what you want to resolve. And so you want to be able to do that, as quickly as possible. So timelines are always going to be a factor. The only thing is that they should be timed. We should, one, make sure that the processes are such that they don't inconvenience the user. And also, we also need to do it in such a way that it's also seamless. This is an expensive process, but you notice that the telcos are bearing the cost of it to make sure that it's free for everybody, but it still ought to be within some particular time frame.
All right. Now, the point about the authentication process that people would have to go through, one would have expected that having the database already sit with the NIA, it would just have been prudent that having our biometric information, we necessarily wouldn't have to go to the telcos for authentication, saying that information is already out there. And so people are asking why we have to go for our fingerprints to be captured again.
So I think that the process itself is not to get the fingerprints captured again. The process itself is to put your fingerprints on there and then be able to compare that with what is at the NIA database to be able to do the validation. And that's is what the process itself seeks to do. So the data that is being captured again, it's just for the comparison with what is at NI. And I'm hoping that as the self-service and all of that is going to come, that might now become what then it becomes. So that once you start the processes, you can then be able to do self-service and take your data, your biometrics, and get that compared with what is at the NIA. And once it's done, then it verifies that you are actually who you say you are. So I'm hoping that this phase that we're going to go to would get that done.
But if my memory serves me right, there had been a point where the NIA had made the point that the database that is being utilized by the telcos is not in sync with what they have as what they have collected previously.
So so that's I'm saying that what the second phase is to actually get that biometric data collected compared with the NIA, and that's a conversation I'm sure between the NCA and the NIA they will be able to have, so that it can be done at one time, not collected, and later on that's comparison done.
All right, now some would also, I know that as a chamber, it really isn't your responsibility to be responding to some of these questions, but what curiously people are asking is, but GPS addresses are in their systems already, and so we do not necessarily have to provide these again, should we?
But the point is that if I took your the way we work in this country, if you move from one area to the other, you might not necessarily go and change your that I have moved into a different location. Those are things that I think that as a country we might have to start doing. Where I remember when I went to Japan, there was, for them, if you move to any new area, you had a particular time to register your new location. And so the biometric, your GPS address is not static. If you move from one area to the other, that could change. So I'm sure it's the reason why when you go, it's asked for again, so that you then are validating that this is where you actually live now.
Now, the final bit has to do with the self-service SIM registration that is targeted at those outside of the country so that they can do the registration seamlessly wherever they may be. We are told that by April, this should be rolled out. Shouldn't that have been the initial thought to allow for Ghanaians to do this just as it's going to be done for those outside?
Well, I hope that we can continue to engage, so that not only would Ghanaians who are outside be able to do that, but if, let's say, I have somebody who is not well, and it's in, the hospital, and I cannot go to the agents to be able to go and do it, but I am also IT literate and I can do it myself. I'm hoping that in the engagements that we continue to have, that service would also be available to Ghanaians also in Ghana. It's definitely a critical thing for those who are outside, because they definitely cannot come into the jurisdiction to do it. But I think that if we also offered it to Ghanaians who are able to do it themselves, also within the jurisdiction, it would also then make it a lot more easier. So you and I would not have to walk to any other operator or get an agent to come to us. We'll be able to do it ourselves. And I think so far as this process has been, we keep on improving on it as we go. It would have been great if that had come at the beginning, but as they say, it's better late than never.
We are grateful that you joined us this morning, Mr. Ken Ashigbey.
Thank you very much.
And that's Mr. Ken Ashigbey joining us this morning, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, sharing some insights with us.